what do you say for somebody that, I mean, they don't know where to start? And you said, I like the way that you said it. Everyone's journey is different, just because it's maybe not what your practices or what your tools are, someone else's tools, somebody else's journey may look different in this realm. But what are some good places for people to start strengthening that mindfulness muscle or that spiritual sense of who they are?
Oh, I love this question because I think, and tell me, I mean, I would love your perspective on this. Like, it feels like for so long, starting the journey was
Mhm.
like the scariest thing because it was always wrapped in this really specific way that like made everyone think, well, I have to be a vegan, I have to go live in an ashram, I have to be perfect, and that's not possible because I got all this pain inside, then I can't imagine that really going anywhere, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Or it's like you're just like, okay, so I'm going to meditate every day and da 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 da, and it's like this rigidity in the structure that keeps people from actually embodying the work.
Yeah.
And I think now we're in this place where it's like we can recognize, and so many of us are sharing in heartfelt ways, not in Instagrammable ways, not in like, these very regurgitated from a book structured ways. We're sharing what practice actually looks like, and so from that piece, I love to tell everyone to start with, what do you notice feels deeply satisfying when you do it? Not
Mhm.
good, right? Like not just good, not just like, oh, I love a good meal, but what actually satisfies you at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And don't put a hierarchy on it having to be performative. You don't have to tell me, oh, when I meditate, I feel so good. You probably don't yet, not when you're getting started. That takes time. That takes time. Now, 10 years later, I crave meditation. But when I first learned, I took a year off immediately.
Yeah.
So I think it's like noticing and giving yourself grace that you can meet your needs. You just have to
Mhm.
listen to what they are. And so to get started, I would say start with a little bit of self inquiry of like, what could feel a little bit better about my day? If I think about my spiritual journey in the context of those like four pillars of wholeness: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, what can go in those buckets? And even non-traditional things. When you think of physical, it doesn't mean you have to have the most dynamic workout, right? Like that isn't for everybody. It also doesn't have to mean that all the yoga postures and you're doing this beautiful deep work that is clearly spiritual. It could mean, in my physical category, to meet my needs, I'm going to close my eyes for 5 minutes and I'm going to hug myself and I'm going to sway my body, and I'm just going to feel, what does that feel like inside of me?
Mhm.
That is a powerful work. That is a powerful spiritual practice. That is a great starting point that requires so little of your time, so little of your creativity. You don't have to think about it, but it starts like that positioning of connecting you back to your body. And from there, you start to, your intuition is really ignited and enlivened. Like you're noticing this connection in new ways to yourself and your needs. And then you just slowly start adding, like, what else could feel good for me?
Mhm.
Maybe when I have my lunch by myself, I'm going to close my eyes as I chew and swallow. Every bite that goes in, I'm just going to close my eyes. It doesn't require much, right? Like that is so simple. It takes seconds. And those are the ways like that we start really creating that internal merit where we just are really making these deposits that add up in us, and we're building our spiritual confidence to have the bigger practice that's consistent.